So the classes will be divided basically in two parts. We will quickly try to understand first what is philosophy. We will first understand series of Western philosophers, and then we will try to understand series of our Indian thinkers or Asian philosophers, not the Western philosophers per se. So first of all, what is philosophy? So I had discussed this in first class as well. Whenever you are trying to reason, whenever you are trying to unearth the why behind any particular phenomena, then you are using the philosophy. If I say you that Ganges is the holy river, so if you are asking why particularly Ganges is only holy river, apart from all the scripture stories, what is the scientific reason behind this? If you are thinking in this manner, then you are using philosophy. So philosophy is not just a collection of important thinkers' point of view with respect to different things, but perhaps it is the way of thinking, way of seeing whatever you have around your eyes with reason. That is philosophy. Also, the very genesis of the subject was based on continuous questioning. So there is no final or finite answer to any question. That is philosophy. And philosophy is the mother of all social sciences. Why? Because if you see science, science without questioning and reason is nothing. So initial scientists, mathematicians were considered as philosopher. Pythagoras is considered as philosopher. Aryabhatta is considered as philosopher. So the initial scientists were philosopher because they were using philosophy. They were trying to question what was considered as unquestionable. They were trying to question the morality and custom of that particular time. That is called as philosophy. So in everyday life also, if you are trying to question anything which is surrounding you, then you are using the philosophy. This is what the meaning of philosophy is. Now let's start our first thinker. That is Socrates. Socrates is often referred to as one of the founders of Western philosophy. And why so? Because he started questioning common things which were present that time in the society. He has not written any book. He has not opened any school. But what earned him the fame was his dialectical method. Dialectical method is simply whenever he used to see anything, he used to question and he used to engage in dialogue. That led to the most important method of reasoning, that is dialectical method, in which what happens? You will try to understand any concept with a view of a person who doesn't know anything, have no clue about that particular phenomena. Say, for example, if why an apple is falling on the ground and not going to the sky? You are trying to understand that like a pure beginner. So Socrates will simply engage in a series of question and answer with a person who claims to be a scientist. That is what he used to do. And from here, he tried unearthing the answers of difficult questions in life. That gained him the fame. And that is why he says, because he used to continuously examine his life, examine whatever he used to see, that from there the famous quotation has come: an unexamined life is not worth living. He took the poison also when it was said that what is unexamined, you have to accept it. He said, I will take poison because an unexamined life is not worth living. I will not stop questioning the things. I will not stop unearthing the things. And this is what made Socrates the great person. There are many stories. One of the important story that I want to tell you is, because stories will help you to understand why a particular quotation came, why a particular philosophy came. So a friend of his, the name was Delphi. He said that Socrates is the wisest person. He is the wisest person in the world. Socrates, he was the person who believed in questioning. So even this claim, he said, first he disapproved. He said that I will try to unearth the reality. So Socrates went on to meet the great people and their knowledge. What is their knowledge? He used to go and meet people and try to unearth their knowledge. Now, what happened after questioning them? He found that their knowledge was either limited or false. They were living in an ego. So, what was more important, however, was the method he used to question their knowledge. He took the standpoint of someone who knew nothing and merely asked questions. And that led him to unearth contradictions in arguments and gaps in knowledge. Okay, so now through his discussion, Socrates also came to realize that what Delphi said is right. He was the wisest person in Athens, but not because of his knowledge, but because he professed to know nothing. From there, the beautiful quotation which has come. Yeah, he said that only wrong or bad thing is ignorance. To gain knowledge of the world and oneself is necessary to realize the limits of one's own ignorance and to remove all perceptions. So if you know that you don't know this particular thing, this is the gateway to gain the real knowledge. The people who are so-called scientists and mathematicians or intellectual in the society, they are living in a false realm that they know everything about a particular subject. If you know that this is a particular area I am not very comfortable with, I do not have particular knowledge, then that opens the gateway to wisdom. This is what Socrates called. Now, the second thing which I want to discuss is a particular dialogue which I had discussed in the first class as well, and I want to repeat it again. So the famous dialogue that I was discussing, Socrates was asking with the priest, so you think that the God knows everything? Priest said, yes, because they are gods. So do some gods disagree with other? Yes, of course they do. They are always fighting. So gods disagree about what is true and right. The priest said, yes, I suppose they must do. So some gods can be wrong sometimes. I suppose that is true. Socrates concluded, therefore, the gods cannot know everything. Thus, the definition of God itself, the one who knows everything, is false. So, like this, he used to question and then arrive to the answers. This was the way of Socrates knowing and unearthing the unthinkable at that time. The charge put on him was that he is trying to spoil the youth. The same thing you can see in the present time as well. People who will try to question the authority, they are put behind the bars with false cases. There are many examples of it. Okay. His concept, one of the important concept was that good and evil are not relative. He said good and evil are not relative. They are absolute and they can be only found by a process of questioning and reasoning. If you are unquestioning life, it is one of ignorance. Everybody will do good if they have knowledge. That's what he believed. If you know that if you will kill an animal, then his or her children will become orphan, then you won't kill. This is what Socrates believed. Okay, Socrates believed that if you have the knowledge, you will not perform any immoral act. This is the edifice of Socrates' thinking. Okay. Socrates, as I told, that only thing which he believed is what causes to act immorally is ignorance. And the only good is knowledge. Only evil is ignorance. Okay. So we all have to strive to gain knowledge through dialectics. Dialectics means questioning what is surrounding you. And from there, UPSC had asked that particular quotation. In your life as well, you are examining your life. That doesn't mean only hurdles, obstacles. people took very narrow view because they never understood the real meaning of this particular quotation, because they never try to understand the thinking of Socrates. If you understand the thinking of Socrates, then that particular quotation is not very difficult. It is very, very easy. Now, another thing which I want to discuss is, what does Socrates tells about happiness? What is happiness according to Socrates? Because there will be questions here and there about happiness. Even essay is coming on happiness. So what does Socrates believe? Socrates said that nobody wants to be sad. Do you want to be sad? No, everybody wants to be happy. It's our ultimate goal in life. But true happiness will never come from wealth, power, or physical pleasure. It comes from wisdom, virtue, and self understanding. What does it mean? Wisdom means, again, knowing your ignorance. What does virtue means? Positive values. Self understanding, understanding what what you are good at is self understanding, what you are bad at, both the things. It is always very important to do a critical analysis of oneself. Until you are having wisdom, you are performing in a virtuous manner your actions, you are self understanding, you will never be happy. And these three things you can see in great personalities, which I will discuss in the subsequent classes, like Swami Vivekananda, like Mahatma Gandhi. They were happy because of these three things. So this was the definition of Socrates. It is not about what we have, but how we use what we have. If you have, say for example, you are knowledgeable, but you are utilizing your knowledge to enhance terrorism in the world. Is it something which will give you happiness? No. If you are utilizing your knowledge to make this world better, you will be happy. This is the real definition of happiness according to Socrates. Okay. The soul or the consciousness must be trained to rise above temporary pleasures, or what we call as not just simply gratifying your dopamine, and seek knowledge and goodness. It's very, very important in life to be humble, to understand things, and to always receptive of ideas from people who have seen more life and who have seen more things than you. This is the first gateway to gain knowledge. If you live in a false ego, if you live in your own conception of what is good about you, then you will never understand your real ignorance. This is what Socrates believed. And this is very, very true in the present scenario as well. In short, happiness is the reward of a wise and virtuous life. If your life is virtuous, if your life is based on wisdom, you will be happy. Now, another very important concept is, what does Socrates believed is a good governance? There will be a wide application in series of questions. So I want to explain this. Now, Socrates believed that any society will become good with a good minds and good hearts. Both the things. If mind is good, that alone is not sufficient. Again, I will give example of the people who made nuclear weapons had very good minds, but do they had good hearts? It's questionable. So a good society can be only created using good minds and good hearts, both. A government can only be just and effective when it is led by people guided by reason and humility, both. Reason, why it is important? You will see that nowadays people who are leading governments, people who are leading states, they do not have even a bit of reasoning ability. They are saying things like the people in the ancient time had developed nuclear weapon, had developed aeroplanes. These are nothing but trying to subvert the reasoning ability and science. Science is nothing. Science is the continuous quest for knowledge. There is never a finite full stop in science. People go on discover and unearthing things. This is what Socrates wanted. And humility. Humility, if you do not have humility, if you think that a particular thing you know everything about that, you must have heard a very popular politician in the world, leading the one of the most powerful countries, is that nobody knows better than me. No, this is the phrase he uses for so many things. And that is why he's trying to make the world worse. Because you do not have humility. If you have humility, then only you will be a good leader. Socrates believed that when a state is led by people who have reasoning ability and who have humility, then only that state will have good governance. It is applicable now as well. Now, those in power are wise and humble enough to serve others. Second, decisions are guided by reason, not by blind belief or rigid tradition. You cannot just go on and say that the particular thing which is happening in the society, it is just because of the will of God. What is will of God? There are a series of crimes happening across the world. If God wills everything, then why does he writes a rape in the fate of 9-month, 10-month-old kid? This is what Socrates believed. If God wills everything, then why God will write this thing? This is absolute fatalism. He believed that people who wants to just subvert or subdue you will give you such arguments. And that is what happened in our society as well. The Brahminic thought process was ruling the society based on this only. You are suffering misery because your past life, you were a very dreaded criminal. Okay? Then what about the first person who was born in the world? How his fate was decided? This is how Socrates was saying that you need to have reason. You just can't simply believe because you were indoctrined when you were 2-year, 3-year, 4-year-old kid with a particular kind of knowledge. And since you were so naive and your brain was not having any kind of reasoning ability, so you found all those things to be true. And the wisdom that was given to you in that age became very rigid as well. So this is what Socrates believed. Leaders remain learners, open to knowledge, questioning, and self-correction. This is what, if you see the greatest of leaders, I will give the example of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He had more than 30 degrees, several PhDs. So that is what made him a good leader. A leader who could emancipate women from thousands of years of stratifications, thousands of years of secluding her in four closed walls, and the erstwhile depressed caste, giving them equal dignity. This is what he did. Why he was able to do it? When we will discuss the contribution of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, we will understand how he was different from others. When a teacher used to say, you will not sit with other students, he used to question, why so? What is so different in me? Do I not have eyes? Do I not possess legs or mind? How I am different? So this is how he used to think. And things used to feel bad. That's why he was able to bring such changes. If you do not feel bad about your condition and you do not question the establishment, then you will never be able to lead a society and perhaps bring a widespread changes. So for Socrates, the best rulers are those who know themselves, seek truth, and rule not for power, but for justice. Not for power, but for justice. To give Nyaya. So when Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was unable to bring reforms the way he wanted, he simply resigned. He said, I came here not for power, but to bring justice in the society. So any great leaders, their wisdom, their way of thinking is based on this philosophy, what was given by Socrates, popularly in Hindi is called as Socrates. Okay, so let's discuss previous year question. Now though you have understood the proper meaning of this quotation, and an unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates. The whole life of Socrates is based on this. His death, the reason was this. Okay, so this is a very popular quotation and very popular understanding of Socrates. Students are not trying to understand the philosophy. That is why they are scoring very poor marks in ethics. Now, as I had discussed now all of this, that what he considered as foundation, I will just straight away come to the answer part. Okay, so unexamined life is like living in an autopilot manner. Okay, you are not eating non-vegetarian in Navaratri. Why so? What is the particular reason about it? Is there any reason? Is there any science? Is there any difference? If I'm doing any particular activity on a particular day, is any planet watching me, making an account of I did this activity and I will punish you? Is it something possible? If you are reasoning about this, then you are trying to evolve as a Homo sapiens. When I was discussing history, our forefathers made all of this possible because of questioning. If they would have been living the life in autopilot, if there was no person who was getting amazed by seeing the star and trying not to sleep the whole night and just see why the stars are shining, then would we have come to the theories about constellation and stars? If the Aryabhata was living in autopilot mode, then would he be able to unearth the theories? Give zero. This was not possible. That is why it is very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. So in anything, you can discuss this in all the wakes of life. I had discussed about politics, how Socrates believed that if you are not reasoning, you cannot lead, you cannot make a society go in a positive direction. If you take the example of society like Japan, after the nuclear disaster, they were able to come out of that. Why? Because the leadership was based on reason. If they would have said this is based on the fate that in the past life Japanese people had killed these many cows, then what will happen? They would not be able to come out of that particular situation. Never ever. They never thought like this. That is why Japan was able to build those cities better than it was before. Can you imagine? This is what a reasoned leadership can bring in any particular society. You can discuss this in all the wakes of life. You just need to understand that. I can give you the historical examples as well. So Gandhiji's book, My Experiment with Truth, is a perfect example of examined life. He's not preaching morality. He's saying that I did wrong, I did this wrong, then I understood that this is wrong. And through this, I evolved. It was not like I am the person who is not a biological being. I am a human like you. I did wrong. I learned from it. I acknowledge that I did wrong. I acknowledge that I was about to go to prostitute. I acknowledge that I was about to beat my wife. I acknowledge that I did a bit of activities which are not moral in my childhood. That is why I became what you know. I became what you call Mahatma. Mahatma, he never called himself. Okay. This is the name not given by him. You must have read the conversation of Rabindranath Tagore and Mahatma Gandhi. So he found his strengths, faced his weakness, and became a moral leader. This is the perfect example. Now you can go as far as Arjuna. You must have grown up with reading the Bhagavad Gita, sir. The conversation between the Krishna and Arjuna. So he was continuously questioning, why should I fight? They are my own relatives. What is the purpose of it? If the war goes on, people will be killed. He is questioning, questioning, and questioning. And Krishna is replying. From there, the wisdom of Nishkam Karma Yoga came. And because of this examining of life, Arjuna became Arjun. We know a Dhanurdhar or one of the greatest warrior. Okay. In what relevance is there in modern times? So people most often are living in a kind of you also. If you are living the way you feel comfortable, then sure shot you are not growing. If things are a bit uncomfortable, then you are growing in life. You have to think if nothing is going bad in your life, then you are not trying. This is said by Swami Vivekananda. Everything is coming from Socrates' idea. The greatest of philosophers are taking clue from Socrates. He didn't wrote anything. It was his one disciple who wrote everything. And when it was asked, Plato, have you written this? He used to say, yes, I got everything from Socrates. Even what he was writing, in his Republic. That was the nature of devotion of a disciple towards Socrates, and the whole name of Socrates is because of Plato. So that was the legacy of Socrates. You see, any particular great person, the philosophy is based on this. If you read the philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, I will be discussing in great detail later on, but just an example. Whatever he used to be told in childhood, like there is a ghost living under that particular tree. He was just 5, 6 years old. He used to go and sit below that tree and used to find that there is nothing. This is nothing but an by a process of examining life. We all grow, our history grow because of that. This is the particular essence. If you write like this by understanding things, you will be getting one of the highest marks. This is the way of getting highest marks, not just by reading a topper's notes and this and that and patchworks. You need to understand things in a wholesome manner and build a great foundation. Okay. So I had told about Mahatma Gandhi's a particular quotation is there. This has been also asked by UPSC in past. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. This is nothing but examining your life. If you go to orphanages, then only you will understand the pain of an orphan. Then only you will understand the importance of having father and mother. That is how you understand. That is how you understand the importance of family and socialization. If you go and visit a old age home, then you will understand the standpoint and the pain of people who are old. Okay. There is a very famous song of Mahatma Gandhi, not of Mahatma Gandhi, written by Narsingh Mehta. He used to sing that. That is Vaishnav Jan to tene kahiye je peer parai jane re. God would be like a virtuous person who understands the pain of others. And he does help others, but not feel that he has done something great. He is not feeling proudy about it. That is what Mahatma Gandhi used to sing in his ashram as well. And that is what truly signifies this particular quotation. And same goes with the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to realize yourself, there is a particular concept of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga comes from the philosophy that if you are working in a manner that you are not bothered about fame, glory, money, then you will realize the true wisdom. You will be happy while you are performing any particular action. Say, for example, when you were a child, you used to play football or cricket. Now you play football or cricket for money. When you play just for fun, you will feel more happy while playing. When you play for money, even though you are playing, you will be under stress. That is the true essence of Nishkam Karma Yoga. Any person becomes the greatest in that particular field because of believing in just you have right to perform your duty. If you are thinking like if you are preparing for civil services, you are constantly thinking about the topper's answer, how to get 131 marks. That's not the way to get 131 or 140 or 150 marks. The best way is to enhance your knowledge. If you enhance your knowledge, if you write your answers timely, if you work very, very hard, if you keep onus on yourself, there is no one who can stop you getting the highest possible marks. Okay. Now let's discuss his disciple